Republicans setting their strategy ahead of the midterms, and first on the list of issues to attack, Obamacare. But is this a good approach? Joining us now is Richard Fowler. He's a radio talk show host, and Chris Wilson, a Republican pollster and former executive director of the Texas Republican Party. Chris, I'll start with you first. Is persistent criticism of this health care law, is that the winning strategy for the Republicans?
Well, every number that comes out shows that a majority, up to the latest Gallup poll shows 54% of Americans are against this law. They don't support it. You've got 8 in 10 say it's important to them and how they cast their vote in November by a 2-to-1 margin. You've got people who say it's very important to them and will cause them to vote against it. So I think by every relevant statistic that will apply to the November elections in an off year and create motivation in terms of who turns out, yeah, it is an important issue. However, I would encourage Democrats to go ahead and campaign on all the massive successes of Obamacare. I would encourage them to campaign side by side with President Obama and invite him into their states, because I think that would be the strategy I'd love to see the Democrats adopt.
Well, Richard, I'm going to give you a shot to respond to that. I sensed a little sarcasm there. Are there successes to tout about Obamacare as we stand today?
There definitely are successes to tout. I mean, you could talk about all the number of individuals that now have access to health care. You could talk about 3 million young people back on their parents' health care insurance. You guys know the statistics, just like I know the statistics. But I think the truth of the matter here is what the American people are looking for is solutions. And the Republican strategy, both in 2012 and what we're seeing today, is we're not that guy. And that just doesn't win elections. Winning elections means you come up with ideas.
Chris, to his point, you know, the Republicans, while they're criticizing the law, they're not really providing a solution. Would you agree?
Well, I think it's difficult to provide solutions without control of the government. I think when Republicans take over the Senate come November, I think when they take the presidency back in a couple of years, then you will see solutions. That you can introduce all the bills you want to right now, but when you got Harry Reid shooting those things down as soon as you can present them, making sure they don't come up for a vote, it's very difficult. The Republicans are not in a position right now where they can do anything. They've had multiple attempts to try and repeal it, and I think you'll continue to see that, because that would be the best thing right now for the American people.
Richard?
But that's the point, though. They've repealed it 55 different times. They haven't proposed one solution, just 55 different ways to repeal it.
That's absolutely not true.
Give me one of those solutions.
Proposed.
Give me one.
Eric Cantor has produced solutions. Just 2 weeks ago, Bobby Jindal introduced a very solid solution.
What is the solution?
Chris, you have it. Go ahead.
Well, in terms of fixing it, I don't know that this is fixable. The numbers that Lieutenant Governor Taylor was just addressing are kind of the important ones here. Are these new people who sign up for health care, is it because they didn't have health care before, or is it because their health care plans were canceled because of the problems that have been created here? So I think, first of all, you've got to stop the plans that are being canceled because of Obamacare from being canceled. You've got to allow people to keep their doctors. These are the sorts of solutions that Republicans are trying to introduce that they can't get through the Democrat-controlled Senate.
Richard, we can all agree that the rollout of this law was not smooth. And we have seen poll after poll that has showed the more people are not happy with this law than those that are happy. And we're seeing that those that are going to be most incentivized to go out and vote this fall are going to be those that are not happy with the law. How do you plan to combat that?
Well, I think you're completely right. I think there's a lot of folks at home that are hurting. There's a lot of folks who lost their health care insurance, and a lot of folks that have uncertainty because of the Affordable Care Act. But any type of change is going to have this type of uncertainty. Now, what Democrats have to do in this midterm elections, they have to go out and talk about the good of the law, and they also have to go after those Republican governors who've chosen not to embrace the law. For example, in the state of Florida, where their governor's chosen not to embrace the law, there are millions of Floridians who cannot get health care coverage because of what we call the coverage gap. And the fact is, Floridians know that. And that's why in the polls, the Democrat is ahead. So I think it's about talking about the solutions.
So, Chris, is there time for implementation of this law leading up to this fall? Is there time for it to impress voters?
I don't think there is time. I don't think there is an opportunity for Democrats to turn around. But again, I would encourage them to try and campaign on this issue. When you've got Obama going to the states, when he goes down to Florida, does Charlie Crist campaign with him? No. When he went to Texas a couple weeks ago, did Wendy Davis campaign with him? She wouldn't even allow the media to take a picture of her with President Obama. I think that's the challenge you've got here, is Democrats are running so far away from this that if there are any successes to tout, and I would suggest the people that are signing up that Richard addressed are all because they had their coverage taken away from them because of Obamacare, which the president promised wouldn't happen. But whether that's the case or not, they will refuse to even campaign with him. And it's taken Senate seats that weren't even seen as competitive.
Richard, I'm going to have to let Chris have the last word there. Fair and balanced debate. We're going to end it there. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Opening statements in the terror trial. Opening statements in the terror trial of the Islamic cleric known as Dr. Hook. He's accused of conspiring to